So I'm back with West Virginia Commonplace. This is going to be like a little um, odd episode because I've already dropped one on Thursday, and I'm going to drop another one real fast. This is a little surprise episode. Um, it was brought to my attention, like somebody asked me, like, how do you make a podcast? And I was like, there's no roundabout way to do it, but I'll tell you exactly how I did it. I started off with nothing more than the Anchor app and a pair of iPhone headphones, you know, the one with the little microphone on it. And I started off first with using voice memo to actually hear what I sounded like, and to decide on what tone to use. How do I need to fix my accent up a little bit? Do I need to make it a little clearer? Do I need to have clarity in it? Or can I be a little country with it, or whatever I want to do with it? I can do anything I want with it. And I realized that the different sounds, the different tones, and different things like that made a sense in how I enunciate certain things. And then on the technical end, I recorded a few episodes with the Anchor app. Anchor app is a very good app. But after a little bit of time, I've gotten a little bit more involved. I went out and bought a Samson Go mic. Nothing expensive. Put $30 into it. Hook it into my computer. Things that I record on my own, I use voice memo. Then outside of that recording, I'll take it to GarageBand and give it a little touch up here and there. Um, One of my guests, Carly Bell, she actually gave me the idea of using Zoom. So I use Zoom, and either way, from that point, sorry about that, I had a message come through. So basically, after I started messing around with the Samson mic, it's got 3 different settings. I had to learn, different sounds, how to make it sound great. I used one pitch that was sort of like this, and it was really loud. I used another one that was like this, and it sounds a little different. And then the one in the middle, I use that one when I'm just recording, and want a singular sound. Well, not a singular, because I'm not a technical person. I don't know the actual terms to use for that. But basically, I mess around with the mic a little bit through the microphone to certain places, and then I would take the headphones and I would go from the computer to the mic to hear different ways. Because when you're using like the Zoom app for things, the microphone, the Zoom is probably the best way to record your podcast right now. Because like I said, it dumps the video into one slot and the audio into another, and makes it fairly easy to use. And that's about it there. So here's the next thing. So here's how you get guests. You get guests by not necessarily knowing anybody, just figuring out what your topic is, what your demographic is, who you're trying to reach, and who you think you can't reach. And I try to reach the people that I can't reach. People that I can reach, I don't want to reach you. Like, that doesn't make sense to me to get people that I know to listen to what I got to say. I can just meet them in public and be like, yo, let's go to the local old main cafe, go to the Whole House, let's go to wherever in my various cities in West Virginia. And they will just meet me there, and I can just tell them my stories, my folklore, and my legends, anything I need to do that way. So I try to get people that are not privy to listen to my stuff, people that are far away from me. I want to give you a story, tell you about something from West Virginia or from wherever, or someone's doing something encouraging in the world, writing a book, or certain types of music. I will do all types of music if the guests present themselves, but a lot of times I go out, I make a friend to someone before I'm going to even go out of my way to do a podcast. So I will engage someone, talk to them, get them settled in, go over the ups and downs of podcast, explain to them how this podcast is going to work for their promotion, because it's basically about how I can elevate them. I want to have the podcast regardless of if I have a guest or not, but I want to have to show them a certain point of like, hey, I'm bringing you on here so that you can boost something up, it's not that I'm selling them on a dream or anything, but it's just like, hey, you come on here, it'll give you a little bit more exposure. It'll give you some more demographics that you might not meet on your own. And that way I'm getting interesting podcasts for you listeners. And that's basically how I do it. And, in finding these guests, I get a ton of rejection. I have a lot of people that I've asked to be on here, and people will tell me they'll consider and this and that. And that is a little discouraging. It was a little discouraging to me at first, and then I started getting guests on, and luckily because of the type of person I am, I've made friends out of all of my guests, and now not so much the people that turned me down, but certain people that did turn me down, not because of the popularity of my podcast or anything like that. I'm kind of like, hey man, I was giving you a platform. I'm not going to be bitter or anything, but I may have you on there and I may not have you now because on my terms now, the guests that I've had in the last few podcasts have put me in a certain area that that I wasn't in when I started out. So one thing I'll say there is that if someone is willing to give you their time to do a podcast, have them on there, interview them, or make it organic. Do something that's going to sound great. You can add in the extra fine things if you use the Anchor app. If you go other ways to do your podcast, there's many tutorials to do that. But I think in your case, listener, that you do a good job and you help me decide on what I'm going to do, because your audience is going to send messages and they're going to send things to let you know how to get that podcast a little more centered to what they want. And then some cases people don't comment. Like, for instance, I get a lot of comments from my projector reviews because I do review quite a bit of projectors, and projectors are my, not necessarily, they're not even part of my livelihood, but they are part of my hobbies. So I'll go out of my way and I'll find certain ones. And no, I do not have a sponsor from any of those projectors. I just give you a full, unbiased opinion of them from the quality that I use. Earlier when I tried to do a music review and that didn't work. And then another thing I found that's good in a podcast is to have a specialty guest. My specialty guest is my cousin Devontae. Devontae is awesome. He has a spirit to him that you just don't find anywhere. So if you have a specialty guest or a host, he technically should be a host, but I don't know what's going on with him. He won't let me know if he'll be a host. That's how you get this thing engaged, because like I said, the singular conversation that you have on a podcast is awesome for certain episodes, but sometimes you need that chemistry or that dynamic of going back and forth with somebody, and that right there is what sells your podcast. That's what makes it interesting. So what I do is I have a flat podcast. I will have various guests on. We will just go back and forth, and we'll just figure it out. That's how I do the podcast. And in my future plans, I plan on having other guests on there. I built up a good repertoire. I made sure I had at least 6 to 7 weeks of podcasts done. Like I'm sitting on, at this moment today, on Thursday, I'm sitting on 5 podcasts to carry me for the next 5 weeks. And then I do these specialty things when my other podcasts go out the roof with ratings and with views and stuff like that. I mean, with listens, sort of like how Carly Bell and the West Virginia Farmer Market Association, they went through the roof. Basically, both episodes catapulted me in a position where I'm not going to live up to that hype the next week. So I'm going to do something like this where I drop 2 podcasts, keep you guys engaged, but also let listeners know how they can start their own podcast and just different ways to do that. And this isn't going to be a very long podcast. We're looking at it's like 8 minutes right now. So other thing is take feedback from people, from other podcasters. Instagram has a slew of podcasters. I have talked to some of the best ones in the world about ways to better myself, and I've even given advice on some people on how to better themselves with mic issues and blah blah blah, and just even different topics. Even though the topics may not be anything I know anything about, like I don't know anything about anything really. I just know about projectors, wrestling, and video games. So outside of that, hearing about people from the spiritual realm and people from other type of things, and people that are just general conversation, the late night talk to the guy girl talk to the girl on girl talk to whatever talk, all these different forums that people can express their opinions and stuff like that. They're very awesome, and that's what a podcast should be about. And then you have your other sides of it that are political, that are just review based, all kinds of things that can kind of make it fun for you. So in all that, I just want you to know that I threw this together real fast. I wanted to make sure that I get out there the whole thing that it's easy to make a podcast, and everybody has a voice and everybody has something that they want to say. So put out a podcast.